Hello, everyone. I would like to welcome you to our food security research project that we studied during fall 2021, which was led by Principal Investigator Dr. Jill Fleischer. And our ovation presenters are Zach Milko, Mary Lavelle, and myself, Jessica Hill. Our first slide here is going to discuss research questions. First, has the prevalence of food insecurity amongst BW students changed since 2017? The third question, to what extent does food insecurity impact academic, mental, and social well-being? Here we will discuss our methodology regarding food insecurity at Baldwin Wallace University. First is data collection. Self-administered anonymous paper surveys were distributed, and they were distributed to a random sample of courses. To qualify to take the survey, you must have taken 12 or more BW credit hours, must not be pregnant, must not be dieting, and no special dietary restrictions. On this slide, we will discuss the demographics of our survey participants. Of the 313 survey participants, 6.1% were African American, 1.3% were Asian Pacific Islander, 79.4% were white, 3.1% were Latino Hispanic, 3.1% identified as Middle Eastern or North African, and 4.8% identified as multi-ethnic. We also identified 19.1% were LGBTQ, and also 1.6% of participants identified as transgender. Table 1 food security categories based on the number of affirmative responses to the U.S. Adult Food Security Survey module. Survey participants indicated their level of food security based on affirmative responses categorized 0 through 6, 0 indicating high levels of food security, and 6 meaning that participant has very low food security. Here we will discuss the USDA Food Insecurity Index. We'll discuss the change that we've seen from the 2017 study to the 2021 study. In 2017, 47% of participants indicated that they were high food security. In 2021, 52% of students indicated that they were high food security. What we see here is a 5% increase among participants who indicated that they have high food security on campus. Our 2021 study indicates a 1% increase among participants who have low food security. In 2017, you'll see in yellow that 10% of our participants indicated that they were very low food security. In 2021, we found 11% of our participants indicated that they have very low food security. In total, 24.4% of students were food insecure. Another 27% reported having 1 or 2 indicators of food insecurity, classifying them as marginally food secure or at risk of food insecurity. Here are the group statistics regarding our dining plan at Baldwin Wallace. You'll see in the second table below, under the category of 14 to 21 swipes per week, that 12 students who participated in the survey indicated that they were food insecure, and that 68 indicated that they were food secure on campus.
Now we are looking at the effects of hunger on students' engagement on campus. Looking at the food insecure students, 57% slept more or less due to hunger, 55% had trouble concentrating. Now, 48% of those students felt uncomfortable, and 36% of these students felt sad or depressed. 27% of students performed poorly on a test or assignment, 14% of students skipped an extracurricular activity, and 5% of students missed a class because of hunger. Hunger is negatively affecting academic performance and a student's ability to fully participate in the college experience. So now we are going to look at the relationship between lack of food and students' mental health. So 19% of undergraduate students felt that a lack of food sometimes or often caused a feeling of nervousness and anxiousness, while 22.7% of undergraduate students almost never felt anxious or nervous due to lack of food, and 58.3% of undergraduate students said that they never felt anxious or nervous due to a lack of food. Note that a significant relationship between food insecurity status and feeling nervous was found. Now we are going to look at the feeling of disadvantaged. 12.9% of undergraduate students surveyed felt as if a lack of food put them at an academic disadvantage. 20.9% of undergraduate students surveyed almost never felt as if a lack of food put them at an academic disadvantage. And 66.3% of undergraduate students surveyed never felt that a lack of food put them at an academic disadvantage. Note that a significant relationship between food security status and feeling at a disadvantage was found. Now, looking at feeling depressed, 18.4% of undergraduate students surveyed felt as if a lack of food caused them to feel sad or depressed. 16.7% of undergraduate students almost never felt as if a lack of food caused them to feel sad or depressed. And 68.9% of undergraduate students surveyed never felt that a lack of food caused them to feel sad or depressed. And note, a significant relationship between food security status and feeling depressed was found. A chi-square test comparing food secure and food insecure students related to purchasing unhealthy foods in our 2021 survey was conducted. Note that of the food insecure and secure students, about 50% of those that responded were found to often or sometimes buy the cheapest food knowing it wasn't the healthiest. Here we looked at how often students must make a choice between food and their academic material and books. So, noting that in 2021, sometimes was selected 25% of the time, while rarely was selected 11.4% of the time, but never was selected 52.3% of the time. There was a slight increase in 2021 from the response never in 2017, but this test is significant because every other category except never makes up roughly 50% of the student population. Many of the food insecure students said that they opted to skip a social event because of a lack of food money and attended events just to get food because it was being served. Gender and sexual orientation. So, looking at men and women, there was not a statistically significant difference. Now, there was a difference found in non binary students, but the sample was 8 students, and no statistically significant difference was found between LGBTQIA plus students that identify as transgender and those who did not. An independent samples t-test looking at the means of food insecurity between students in 2021 who identified as a part of the LGBTQIA plus community and students who did not found a significant difference between them. The mean food insecurity for students who identify as LGBTQIA+ was significantly higher than the mean food insecurity of students who did not.
Food insecurity and GPA were found to have a modest negative correlation. As food insecurity increases, GPA is likely to decrease. This is consistent with the data on the deleterious effects on hunger, on concentration and performance on assignments and exams. Looking at student status, in 2017 there was no statistical significant difference in food insecurity between undergraduate and graduate students. However, in 2021, undergraduates had a higher mean score of food insecurity index with a mean of 1.46 compared to 0.73 for graduate students. One explanation for the lack of significance in 2017 is due to a small sample of graduate students. In 2021, we oversampled graduate students, resulting in a significant difference in food insecurity between undergraduates and graduates. When observing only undergraduate students, we did not observe a statistically significant difference in food insecurity between 2017 and 2021. Still, there was food insecurity amongst undergraduate students. It was found that students who have ever been Pell eligible are more food insecure than students who have never been Pell eligible. Students who have been Pell eligible have a mean of 2.13, and students who have not been Pell eligible have a mean of 0.68 on the Food Insecurity Index. The t-test of only undergraduate students found that students who have ever been Pell eligible are more food insecure than students who have never been Pell eligible. Students who are Pell eligible have a mean of 2.18, while students who have never been Pell eligible have a mean of 0.89 on the Food Insecurity Index. We found that students who mostly support themselves are more food insecure than students who pay for part of their expenses and students who have others pay for almost all of their expenses. Chi-square tests of independence were calculated comparing white and minority undergraduate students' level of food security in 2017 and 2021. In 2017, there was a significant relationship between racial ethnic identity and food insecurity, with 40.6% of minority students and 22.4% of white students reporting food insecurity. These percentages are notably different compared to the findings in the 2021 survey, where we found no significant relationship between being a white or minority student. While there is no significant relationship here, cross-tabulation data shows minority students, 27.3%, are only slightly more likely to be food insecure than white students, who are 22.8% food insecure. To conclude our findings, we found that hunger negatively impacts academic performance, a student's mental health, physical discomfort, and a student's ability to fully participate in the college experience. Almost half of food insecure students were likely to buy unhealthy food options just because they were less expensive. There was a negative correlation between food insecurity and GPA. LGBTQ plus students and Pell eligible students are twice as likely to be food insecure. Students that mostly support themselves financially were more likely to be food insecure. Gender, ethnicity, living arrangements, parental status, and athlete status do not influence food insecurity at BW.